Here are today's top stories. The AFP expects fewer supporters of militant groups joining protest rallies on Labor Day. The Philippines and China agree to negotiate on solution to so-called irritants in the West Philippine Sea. Filipinos in Spain join calls condemning the Communist Party of the Philippines and the New People's Army. And Malacañang extends its greetings to Japanese Emperor Akihito as he steps down from imperial rule.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. With the decrease in support for the communist movement and its legal fronts, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, says militant groups are also likely to lose backing from the masses. The AFP expects to see this as militants prepare for their protest rallies tomorrow on Labor Day. Benj Mondo has the story.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines is expecting fewer left-leaning group supporters to participate in activities in observance of Labor Day. AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Colonel Noel de Toyato says left-leaning organizations will have less attendees in their rallies aside from the garbage they will be generating. Left-leaning organizations will stage rallies in Welcome Rotonda in Quezon City, Isitan Recto in Manila, Philippine General Hospital, San Andres Rotonda, and Far Eastern University in Moraita, Manila, all of which will lead to Mendiola. De Toyato says left-leaning groups like Karapatan, Anak Bayan, Kabataan, Anak Pawis, and Bayan Muna might be spearheaded by their nominees, which will culminate with a meeting de avance of leftist party list groups sympathizing with the New People's Army. The AFP recorded about 20,000 participants in last year's Labor Day protest, a far cry from the 28,000 they mustered in 2017. De Toyato said they are expecting a lower turnout of rallyists this year, with participants expecting a higher rally fee because of the upcoming elections and the bad record of organizers who are said to be pocketing the budget. Despite the absence of threats, the AFP has instructed its Joint Task Force National Capital Region to coordinate with the police for possible contingency measures such as crowd control. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Mondo.
In line with the efforts to provide jobs to more Filipinos, the Department of Labor and Employment is inviting job seekers to a nationwide job fair on May 1st. DOLE has announced some 29 venues for the job hunters on Labor Day. More than 12,000 jobs are open for application in Central Luzon, which will be held in San Fernando, Pampanga, Muntinlupa City, Taguig City, Parañaque City, and select provinces in Northern and Southern Luzon. In Region 7, over 18,000 local and overseas jobs are up for grabs for applicants. Job fairs will be held in Iloilo City, Cebu, Negros Oriental, Tacloban City, and Ormoc City. In Region 10, over 16,000 jobs are available through job fairs in select parts of Zamboanga City, Cagayan de Oro, Davao City, General Santos City, and Butuan City. Filipinos in Madrid, Spain condemned the atrocities of the CPP-NPA back in the Philippines. Filipinos in Madrid, Spain expressed condemnation over the atrocities of Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army perpetrated in the Philippines. Placard-bearing rallies staged their protests at the Rizal Monument in Islas Filipinas to call for the end of the 50-year-old communist group. They denounced CPP founder Jose Maria Sison and pressed for his repatriation so that he could be held accountable for the CPP-NPA's atrocities. The protesters urged European governments to cease financial support to these communist-linked organizations and expressed their support to the petition urging the cancellation of registration of party-list groups and a senatorial aspirant identified with the CPP-NPA. Malacañang welcomed the results of the study by the Ateneo Human Rights Center, particularly the deaths throughout the administration's war on drugs. The Ateneo Policy Center recorded a total of 7,029 drug-related deaths from May 2016 until December 2018. This is contrary to the joint claims of critics, media, and even the United States that over 20,000 died during the war on drugs. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo stressed that the number includes those killed by drug syndicates and not only suspects neutralized by the police. The PNP earlier slammed the Ateneo study, saying it listed other deaths with unrelated possible motives as drug-related incidents. Pampanga and Zambales received calamity funds for earthquake-affected areas. Meanwhile, the PNP encourages the public to report sightings of cocaine blocks along shorelines. More on these and other news around the metro from Janice Cabe.
The Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office allocated 5 million pesos for Pampanga and 1.5 million pesos for Zambales from its Calamity Assistance Fund. The agency is also providing medical assistance to quake victims confined in hospitals. Meanwhile, Quezon City mayoralty candidate Congressman Vincent Bingbong Crisologo is facing a disqualification case at the COMELEC over his conviction way back in 1970. The complaint stated that Crisologo is ineligible to run for office because he is facing a double life imprisonment sentence and was only granted a conditional pardon by then-President Ferdinand Marcos. Crisologo was convicted for one case of arson and a second case of arson with homicide in Bantay, Ilocos Sur. In other news, the PNP urged the public to report any sighting of cocaine block shipments along shorelines and beaches. This after authorities recovered 2 blocks of suspected cocaine worth over 1 billion pesos in Barangay Quezon, Libho, Dinagat Island last Sunday. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Still to come, the Philippines and China agreed to negotiate on solution to so-called irritants in the West Philippine Sea. Government agencies launch an anti-vote buying and selling caravan in Bohol. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Nandito tayo ngayon sa China National Convention Center kung saan ginagawa ang second session ng Belt and Road Forum. At ang nakikita nyo sa likuran ko ay ang nasa 4,000 mga mamamahayag na nagko-cover ng BRF dito sa Beijing, China. Nasa 37 heads of state and government ang dumadalo dito sa ikalawang sesyon ng BRF kasama na si Pangulong Duterte. Ito ang tinagurian na major diplomatic event this year dito sa China.
I reaffirm my country's commitment to the collective vision of common prosperity, to cooperation on the basis of mutual respect and as equal sovereignty. The Philippines is one with every responsible member of the international community in building a future that will be the envy of history. One that promotes global cooperation, yet upholds and respects national sovereignty, where national honor is married with the interest of humanity, and where the great challenges that transcend national borders are collectively addressed. With the Belt and Road program, this forum we have is an opportunity to redefine international cooperation. This is the key to sustained growth.
The Philippines and China are open to holding negotiations to resolve the issue of so-called irritants in the West Philippine Sea. President Rodrigo Duterte brought up the issue during his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the second Belt and Road Forum in Beijing, China. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says irritants refer to the presence of the Chinese vessels surrounding Pag-asa Island and the alleged harassment of Filipino fishermen, among others. He says the two leaders were amenable to using a bilateral consultation mechanism to resolve the conflict and that President Duterte was respectful in raising the issue but will continue to assert Philippine sovereignty. Panelo adds that the Philippines does not need consent from China before declaring some parts of the West Philippine Sea, including Pag-asa Island, as marine protected areas. The government-owned Food Terminal Incorporated, or FTI, gets a total refurbishment in a bid to provide necessary aid to Filipino agricultural producers. Joyce Kudis files the story.
A pre-celebration following Food Terminal Incorporated's survival was staged on April 26, just before its 50th anniversary. In 2012, the company nearly shut down after 74 hectares of its property was divested to the private sector. Later in 2016, the former administration decided to not renew its corporate life. FTI President Ariel Buenaventura said FTI was revived in line with President Rodrigo Duterte's mission to strengthen support to the agricultural sector. Currently, the agency provides services for the Department of Trade and Industry, Dizon Farms, Bank of the Philippine Islands, and Aki Bodugo. It also functions as an asset leasing company that caters to both PEZA and non-PEZA properties. For the first step of their newly crafted roadmap, various cold storage facilities or regional food terminals will rise in the country's strategic locations in Metro Manila, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Joyce Kudis.
Here's some news for Filipinos availing of cargo services via Korean Air. The South Korean flag carrier announced that it is implementing the iCargo, a next-generation system that is based on cloud technology. The new system integrates Korean Air's end-to-end cargo business functions and provides up-to-date information via customized monitoring function. It also tracks the status of shipments in real time via email or SMS. On its business side, Korean Air will soon introduce an AI-based cargo revenue management system that could help boost the airline's profitability. The carrier will also migrate its entire IT system to cloud by 2021. The Department of Agriculture, or DA, has approved 18 sub-projects worth 829 million pesos in Ifugao Province. In Banawe, among the infrastructure projects lined up is a finished 1.9 million peso potable water system project, 9 communal irrigation systems that will irrigate 211 hectares of rice land, a farm-to-market road with a bridge, and 4 potable water system projects. In Hungduan, the restoration and rehabilitation of livelihood projects on swine raising have been completed. Ongoing projects include the restoration and rehabilitation of cattle fattening and marketing in Lagawe and the upgrading and expansion of processing and marketing of export-quality Ifugao heirloom rice in Banawe. A multi-agency team launches a campaign against vote buying and vote selling. Meanwhile, more tourists flocked in Arakan, North Cotabato. More on these and other news around the provinces from Benj Bondok.
In Bohol, an interagency collaborative team composed of the PNP, AFP, and CBCP spearheaded a campaign to combat vote buying and vote selling. This is in line with President Duterte's assurance of clean, honest, and orderly elections this May. The campaign will start in Bohol and will soon conduct a motorcade in other provinces like Cebu. COMELEC, DILG, and DepEd are also expected to join in the campaign. In Leyte, 2nd District Representative and candidate Henry Ong is facing a disqualification case over a citizenship issue. Petitioner Anthony D. from Dagami, Leyte says Ong is a Chinese citizen and not a natural-born Filipino. Ong says he has treated the case as an attack on his candidacy. In North Cotabato, a total of 25,319 local and foreign tourists have visited Arakan's tourist attractions from January to March this year. Arakan boasts of its Matigol Falls, Apple Falls, Vovolon Natural Spring Resort, Golden Gate, Eagles Ridge Rest House, Alice Log House, and other local accommodations. Local Tourism Office says it is expecting an increase in the number of tourists during the summer vacation or after the May 13 midterm polls. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondok.
Up next, Malacañang extends its greetings to Japanese Emperor Akihito as he steps down from imperial rule. Entrepreneurs in Marawi join a forum on rebuilding their businesses. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Magandang pagkakataon ito para sa Pangulo para talakayin at hikayatin ang mga delegado na mamuhunan sa Pilipinas at maglagak pa ng foreign direct investments. At naniniwala ang gobyerno ng Pilipinas na ang DRF ay malaking tulong sa pamagitan ng mga infrastructure and international cooperations.
I am happy to witness the exchange of signed business agreements between the Philippine and Chinese companies. This is a vote of confidence in the growth and prospects of the Philippine economy, for which we are thankful. China is now our largest trading partner and a major source of foreign investment. The Belt and Road Initiative, which we welcome, complements their massive push for infrastructure development under the Build program. The Philippines welcomes responsible foreign investors as partners for national development. The Philippine government guarantees through good governance an enabling environment that allows business and investments to prosper.
A petition is filed at the COMELEC asking to remove party list groups that support the CPP-NPA, a known terrorist organization. Should these progressive groups be booted out of Congress, or should they continue to be represented in the government? Let's find out what's on the people's mind in today's Boses ng Masa.
Hindi, kasi democratic tayo eh. Di ba? Kung yung sitwasyon magkakaroon ng isang makakaliwa, may ginain democratic tayo. Sang-ayon na akong tanggalin sila.
Pabor.
Bakit po?
Siyempre, CPP-NPA, susuportahan mo pa ba yun? Pabor na matatanggal sila. Kasi hindi naman sila pro-government eh.
Tanggalin.
Bakit po?
Kasi kung hindi naman sangayon sa proyekto ng gobyerno natin minsan, pwede sila maka-epekto sa pagbagal ng paggawa.
Ngayon po kami na tatanggalin sila kung hindi naman lang maganda ang yung patakaran sa lahat. Pero kung maganda naman lang ang patakaran sa lahat sa mga publiko na okay naman lang sila, okay lang. Pero kung hindi naman lang maganda, pwede na po silang matanggal.
Siguro, ganun na lang may sasagot ko. Pasilahin na lang. Kasi, bagay, yun lang talaga.
The Department of Labor and Employment said excess demand for workers and improvement of wages mean that the Build, Build, Build flagship program of the government is indeed effective. Labor Undersecretary Siriaco Lagunzad made the statement after Ibon Foundation took a swipe at the government's infrastructure program, calling it an ineffective platform for job creation. Ibon Foundation claims that the annual job creation rate under the Duterte administration is the lowest over the last 6 administrations. Lagunzad says that the surplus of workers and an increase in their salaries indicate that President Rodrigo Duterte's program is successful. He says while construction work under the Build, Build, Build is seasonal, those who benefited are not left alone since industries supporting them continue to grow. Malacañang sent well wishes to Japanese Emperor Akihito, who is ending his 3-decade reign. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the palace is melancholic but respects the emperor's decision to step down from his throne and relinquish it to his son, Crown Prince Naruhito. Panelo expressed confidence that Crown Prince Naruhito's assumption would indicate well for Philippine-Japan relations. Japan's $9 billion investment in aid package for the Philippines is the largest amount Japan has committed for a single country. Panelo expressed confidence that Crown Prince Naruhito's assumption would continue the strong ties between the Philippines and Japan. And in sports, E.J. Obiena was unanimously chosen by the tabloid organization in Philippine Sports, or TOPS, as its Athlete of the Month of April. TOPS President Ed Andaya said Obiena's achievement, which ended the country's decade-long gold medal drought in the Asian Athletics Championships, is clearly the most inspiring by the Filipino athletes this April. The 23-year-old Obiena was recognized for his historic win at the Asian Athletics Championships in Doha, Qatar last week. Obiena's gold medal was the first by the Philippines in the continental competition. The government is tapping Marawi's business sector to help in its rehabilitation. Marawi residents are given a chance to restore their businesses, but also to help other displaced residents. More on this from Sweet Lukman.
Hundreds of Marawi entrepreneurs gathered for the first Marawi Business Forum to help in accelerating the city's economic recovery and in improving business access. The Bangon Marawi Chamber of Commerce and Industry hosted a business forum to empower the local private sector to restore their livelihood and provide them alternative business opportunities. The Marawi entrepreneurs were taught how to improve their businesses as well as how to access credit and new markets. This forum is part of the continuing partnership of the government and the private sector to fast-track the recovery of the businesses in the war-torn city. Entrepreneurial experts were invited to the forum to share their business techniques. Meanwhile, TFBM Field Office Manager, Assistant Secretary Felix Castro Jr. said this business forum is one of the efforts of the TFBM member agencies and its partners to revive their livelihood through training and availability of capital.
Maraming gustong tumulong. Sila ay lagi nandyan, ang Task Force Bangon Marawi, laging nandyan, ang lagi kong sinasabi, sabay-sabay natin ibangon ang Marawi.
TFBM Field Office Manager also said the Bangon Marawi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, through its leader Ilian Makala, has collaborated with USAID Surge, Plan International, PCCI, ASA Philippines, and other organizations to help the businessmen who were affected by the siege. For PNA Newsroom, Sweet Lukman, Philippine Information Agency.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
The AFP expects fewer supporters of militant groups joining protest rallies on Labor Day. The Philippines and China agree to negotiate on solution to so-called irritants in the West Philippine Sea. Filipinos in Spain join calls condemning the Communist Party of the Philippines and the New People's Army. And Malacañang extends its greetings to Japanese Emperor Akihito as he steps down from imperial rule.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.